Stick with me for just a couple minutes, and I will teach you exactly what you need to know in order to win every argument that you ever have with your significant other. Whether you call them your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, your wife, your paramour, your honey boo boo, my guess is that you have arguments with your partner sometimes. Maybe they're little small disagreements, maybe they're big raging conflicts, but whatever they are, they can be awful. They can rip a relationship apart. And so you're probably thinking, I want to know what to do when those conflicts come around. Well, the good news is that I've got a set of principles that will help you 100% of the time win those arguments, fight and win. And I'm not just making this stuff up. I'm not just some guy. My name's Dr. Dan. I'm a clinical psychologist. And so this advice is based in my clinical and therapeutic expertise. What's more than that, I'm a married man. So this is based in my real world experience navigating through different conflicts and arguments with my wife. So this stuff works. But first, I have to define exactly what it works for, what I mean when I say this will allow you to win any argument. Because the thing is that when people imagine winning an argument with their spouse, oftentimes what they imagine is that it gets to the end and they are declared that they were right and the spouse is wrong. That if the argument is about who takes out the trash that night, that the partner takes out the trash and you get to relax on the couch. That is not at all what I'm talking about. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but winning a conflict does not mean that you end the conflict deciding that you are right and the other person has to do whatever you want. Number one, there's no secret set of techniques that allows for that to happen. And number two, you honestly wouldn't want that even if those techniques existed, because then you wouldn't have a relationship. You would just have somebody else who is basically a robot that you could program. And in order for you to actually have a fulfilling relationship that reduces your loneliness and gives you real intimacy, the other person needs to be a real whole person with their own set of needs and their own ability to make decisions. So with that in mind, when I'm talking about winning an argument, winning a conflict, what I mean is that you and your partner, you win together because this is a team battle. This is you and your partner as allies against the problem. And so winning means that the two of you won. Losing is a situation where only one of you comes out of the conflict feeling okay. So with that in mind, how do we actually do this stuff? How do we win a conflict in a way where both you and your partner feel good and feel closer to one another? Well, there's a couple of different principles. The first principle is to get the heck off the Eiffel Tower. What do I mean by that? Imagine that you have just found yourself in Paris and you go up the Eiffel Tower. It's 1,000 feet tall, and so you can see the entirety of the city from up there. And then you see a nice Parisian cafe. You think, oh, maybe I'll have a baguette over there. Too bad. You're 1,000 feet in the air. And if you want to go somewhere, you have to get back down to the ground floor in order to actually progress. In the same way, if you are in a conflict with your partner and you're like, man, I'd really like to solve this problem. I'd really like to communicate how I feel about this. You cannot do that if you are emotionally elevated. If you are feeling panicked, if you are feeling angry, if you are feeling sad or scared, all of those things are going to prevent you from being able to communicate effectively. And so you need to get off the Eiffel Tower. You need to bring your emotions down to the ground floor in order to communicate effectively. And here's how that works. It's two simple words: time out. All it takes is having an agreement with your partner that if either of you start to get a little bit revved up, either of you, your voice starts to raise, you start to get some tears in your eyes, you start to feel a little bit scared or whatever it might be, when you start to feel that, either one of you can say time out, and then you'll take a break from the conversation and each of you can go do something that you enjoy that helps you calm down. Maybe you watch your favorite movie. Maybe you take a bubble bath. Maybe you just walk around the block and take a couple of deep breaths, whatever you need to do to bring your emotional state back down to a neutral baseline. And maybe you'll be ready to continue the conversation in 5 minutes. Maybe you'll need to start it up again tomorrow. But the key thing is that you both agree that if somebody says timeout, then the conversation stops, but also that you both agree that if the conversation stops, it will start back up again. So timeout is not a secret weapon that you can use to shut down the dialogue. It's something that pauses it and allows you to come back together when you can actually engage effectively in the conversation. So that's the first secret weapon, coming down off the Eiffel Tower, agreeing on timeout as a plan to be able to take a break when you need it. The second principle, the second secret weapon that lets you win 100% of the conflicts and make sure that the two of you are stronger as a result of your arguments, is to start with curiosity, not convincing. In a lot of conflicts, people have the communication break down because they are trying to convince the other person of their point of view. You're arguing over who should take out the trash tonight. You think that they should do it. They think that you should do it. You're just sort of talking past each other. Or they're upset that you forgot to bring them flowers for the date. You want to convince them that it's not a big deal. They want to convince you that it was a big deal. Again, you are just talking past each other. You're not trying to ally together. And so the way that you work together is through curiosity, where both of you are just trying to understand the other person. And that's it. That is the only goal, at least at first. You're not trying to solve the problem. You're not trying to figure out a compromise. You're just trying to understand. And so the conversation should look like a lot of questions, open-ended questions. It should look like a lot of reflections where you sort of say, hey, so it sounds like what you're saying is this. Is this correct? Or I'm hearing this. Is that accurate? And then what is absent is defensiveness. Is you saying, well, that's not fair because of this, or oh, well, I had to do it because of this. Because the fact is, that might be true. There might be a very legitimate defense for your side of the story, but you get to that later. The first step is just to have curiosity so the two of you can understand one another. And once you get to the place where you're able to say, hey, so I think that this is how you see it, and they say, yes, exactly. And then they're able to say, and I think that this is how you see it, and you say, yes, exactly. Then you can actually work this stuff out because you both have the same understanding of the problem. So that's the second step, is to lead with curiosity. And the thing that will stop you from doing this is when you start to get upset, when you start to get elevated. But again, if you use step one and you just time out whenever you need to, well, then you're going to be able to come back and as many times as you need to have the curiosity. The third ingredient is to remember that the conflict is almost never what you actually think that it's about. And what do I mean by that? Well, if the two of you are arguing about whose turn it is to walk the dog, it's not about the dog. I'm sorry, I'm sure the dog is very cute, but it's not about the dog. It's about some kind of deeper issue that is connected to the relationship. Within a relationship, it's critical for us to feel like the other person cares about us, that we are important to the other person, that the other person is trustworthy and safe, that the other person values us. All of these critical core relational needs, those tend to be the things that feel threatened when we have an argument or a disagreement. And so in order to resolve the conflict successfully, you need to make sure that you are addressing the threat to the relationship. And the curiosity helps a lot with this, because oftentimes if you start to talk to your partner and get them to share what they're feeling, at some point they're going to say something like, hey, when you insist that it's my turn to walk the dog, it makes me feel this way. It makes me feel like you don't value all of the work that I do, for our family. It makes me feel like you don't want to spend time with me and you just want me to go off and walk the dog instead. Whatever it is, your partner is going to be able to express that. And then you're going to be able to find a way to actually meet that need. Like if they say, oh, I don't feel like you value me enough, you're going to find a way to be able to show that you value them, for instance. So that is step 3, is making sure that you are able to find the deeper need and you address the deeper need. And then the fourth part, probably one of the most important parts, is to make sure that if within a conflict or an argument, one person hurts another person or lets the other person down, that the person that did the hurting is committed to making it right, and the person that was hurt is committed to giving them the chance to make it right. Because in any relationship, the two of you are going to hurt each other. It is just guaranteed. You could have a relationship between Mr. Rogers and Mother Teresa, probably two of the kindest human beings to ever walk the earth, and it would not matter. At some point, they're going to do something to upset each other. In a good relationship, when somebody hurts you, they don't just apologize, but they take action. They figure out what they need to do to make it right. Whether that's trying to undo some of the damage that was done, or trying to put some plans in place so that that harm doesn't occur again, right? If I, you know, make my wife upset because I forget our anniversary, well, not only do I need to apologize and try to help her feel better, but I probably need to do something to make sure that I don't forget the next anniversary, right? That's what it means to take responsibility. But critically, it's not just on the part of the person who did the bad thing to make up for it. The other person also needs to be willing to allow that to happen, because sometimes people in relationships can just get closed off. They can refuse to allow the other person to even try to make amends, or to offer any form of forgiveness when somebody is making an attempt. And so the two components are, number one, that if somebody does a wrong thing, they have to try to make it right. But then number two, the other person has to give them the chance. They have to communicate what was wrong. They have to communicate what they need, and they have to give the other person the chance to do it. And obviously, there's an expiration date to that, right? If you've attempted multiple times to let somebody make things right and they never have, well, then maybe you can stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you can stop trusting them, and maybe they're not the right person to be in a relationship with. But if the other person is legitimately trying to make things right, then it's your responsibility to allow them to do that, because then at the end of the conflict, the two of you can feel closer together. Because even if you don't solve the original thing that you were disagreeing about, even if you have no idea whose turn it is to take out the trash tonight, you will have gotten to the other side of the conflict with an experience that taught you that your partner was safe and trustworthy, that they respected your timeout when you said it, that your partner is committed to you, that they're curious, that they want to know more about you, that your partner is attentive to your relational needs, that they're trying to look for the deeper issue, and most importantly, that your partner is trustworthy, because if they do something wrong, they will try their darndest to make it right and put safeguards in place so it doesn't happen again. And if all of that happens as part of a conflict, then it really doesn't matter what solution you find to the problem in front of you, because you will have gained this confidence that the other person is your staunch ally, and together you can trust that you'll work together on whatever comes your way. So those are the tips that I got. Those are my super secret strategies for winning any conflict. I hope you forgive me for the slightly clickbaity way that I went about the title of it, but I really do believe in this stuff. I really do believe that if we rethink what it means to win, and we say that it's not about deciding that I'm right, but it's figuring out what brings us closer together as a couple, then I think that you're going to find this transformational. I also want to acknowledge that this applies obviously beyond just romantic relationships, any kind of relationship where you have conflict. I think these same things apply. It's just the most prominent for romantic relationships. So that's what I got. Please leave a comment if you've got thoughts. Give me a like if you're feeling generous, or a subscription if you just really want to make me happy. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.